Theme parks are as unaffordable as they've ever been. When you think about Universal, you might think about rides or characters or having fun with your family, but the reality is that pretty much everybody thinks about price.
What's going on, man?
Nothing much. I got home from work. What's going on with you?
Just hanging out. So I had a question. So I know a couple months ago when we talked, you said you were planning on coming down this summer down here to Universal?
Yeah, dude, I'll be down there in July.
Okay, so I know it's going to be kind of weird. We're recording for a video. So I wanted to ask you if you minded sharing how much your trip cost you to book.
Yeah, dude, I mean, you gonna make me famous?
I don't know about that.
Oh, yeah, man, give me 1 second. I got everything here in my notes. Let me pull this up. We're gonna be there for like 4 days, so I got us around a little bit over $4,800 for the trip.
That's not cheap.
$4,800. I don't know about for you guys, but for us, that's a lot of money. I'm trying to think if we have ever spent $4,800 on a trip down here, and the only one that's coming to mind is like an 8-day trip that we took down here for Halloween Horror Nights. We're staying at a premier hotel. I mean, we went all out. And our friends are only coming down. They're not staying at a premier hotel. They're only here for 4 days. They have 4 days of tickets, and they have 3 days of express passes. There are 3 main areas that you're going to spend your money on when you're coming to the parks. That's hotels, tickets, and food. There's also travel, and that could be a big one, but we don't feel like we could do it justice because it's such a big variable. Like, you could be coming from 2 hours away, so it's just a simple drive, or you may be having to fly 10 or 12 hours because you live in a different country. We don't know, so I don't think that we can do it justice. But if there are 3 areas that you're going to spend the money on, you may be thinking, well, why don't you just look around and find the cheapest of all 3 of those things? And it's just not that simple.
When you're visiting a theme park, tickets are going to be one of your biggest expenses. Take Universal, for example. The cheapest you're ever going to find single-day tickets is $174 per person, and that's just the starting price. Like, if you're coming during a busy time, we're here during spring break right now, the crowds are absolutely crazy, and that starting price is going to be a lot more expensive than that. And if you have a family of like 4 or 5, that adds up real quick. Now, when you're looking at like multi-day tickets, it's not going to be $174 for every single day. Like, the daily price does get cheaper the longer you stay. And so when you're looking at tickets, your first thought might be, oh, let me just like jump on Universal's website, hit their little ticket tab, and then, put in how many days you want and check out. And that's completely logical, but you got to do some research first. When I say research, I really just mean looking for discounts. And the first place to look is on Universal's website. So they run promo deals on tickets all of the time, and they can save you a ton of money. Right now, they have one going on that is a buy 2 days, get 2 free. So you get 4 days of tickets to the park for the price of 2, which is a phenomenal deal. But sometimes if you don't know exactly where to look for those, it can be hard to find them. For example, Tyler had some trouble last night. He was trying to price out that buy 2, get 2 promo. And so when you go into the tickets tab, you can select like how many days you're looking to purchase tickets for. He was looking for the buy 2, get 2 free, so that's a total of 4 days. So he selected 4 days. And when he went to look for that deal, it was nowhere to be found. But then he went over and he selected 2 days because I guess technically the number of tickets that you're buying is 2. And as soon as he selected that, the promo popped right up. And I'll be honest, it made us a little bit sad because what we realized is that there were 100% times before we had annual passes and we were buying single day tickets that we missed out on promos like that because we just didn't look in the right tab because we never thought to look on a different number of days than we were going to the park. So make sure you look in the right place. After you've done all your research and you've checked out all the promos on Universal's page, before you purchase your tickets, there's one more thing that we like to do, and that's to look at third-party vendors. So our favorite are our friends over at Orlando Informer. Every time that I have done the research to see where the absolute cheapest ticket is, they win every single time. And so a lot of the time, you're not going to save a ton of money through a third party. It might be like $5 or $10 off of your ticket. But if you've got a group of like 5 people, that could be like $50 that you're saving down just by purchasing tickets through a different website. And I'll be honest, I am a frugal girly. I get it from my dad. He was a bit of a penny pincher when I was growing up. You know, it did the family a lot of good, but my real fear is that if I spend $10 that I don't need to spend, he's just going to appear and have like a spreadsheet that shows me like what that $10 would be worth in 30 years if I'd saved it and invested it. So I'm never going to spend that extra $10. I love you, Dad. If you're watching, that spreadsheet that you made me and Tyler to help budget our expenses, it's doing wonders for us. We would be absolute hypocrites if we didn't at least mention annual passes, because that's what we have, and we've been big proponents of them in the past. Depending on how many days you're coming down, they could save you a lot of money. Like, they've saved us thousands of dollars over the year because we come all the time. If you're coming for at least 5 or 6 days, that's kind of that threshold where we think it's worth it to price check and see if they're gonna save you money. But what you don't wanna do, you don't wanna be like us. Like, when we were living in Tennessee, we bought annual passes for the first time because, you know, it seemed like such a better deal. But then because we had the annual passes, you know, we had to get our money's worth. So we just had to keep coming down. And next thing you know, it's the only vacation that we had taken for 5 years, and we regretted absolutely none of it. Don't be us.
Generally speaking, hotels are your biggest expense on any vacation, and it's no different on a trip down here to the theme parks. At Universal, there are 8 hotels at a variety of different price points, starting with the cheapest options, your value hotels, that is Endless Summer Dockside and Endless Summer Surfside. A step up from that, you have the prime value hotels, including Aventura and Cabana Bay. And then there is the preferred hotels, or I should say hotel, because there's only one, and that is Sapphire Falls. And then the most expensive hotels are the premier hotels. Those include Hard Rock, Portofino Bay, and Royal Pacific. We always suggest staying on property for a few reasons, but the convenience is just so nice. Sure, there's probably a little bit of a price difference, but we just can't justify not being on property when we can. When we used to travel up here, we've done both. We stayed off property one time, and that tells you everything you need to know. That one time was enough for us to regret it forever. We're never going to do it again. If you can stay on property, if there's hotels available, you should do it.
Of course, the hotel you stay at is going to play a huge role in how much the hotel is going to cost, but there are some strategies that we've learned that work for all of Universal's hotels. And the first one is to book early. Like, if you're not sure about your dates, doesn't matter. Book it. Not sure how many people are coming? Doesn't matter. Book it. Not sure which hotel you want to stay at? Doesn't matter. Book it. Tiger chasing you? Book it. And the reason that you should book it so early is because Universal has a wonderful cancellation policy. So if you have a room-only reservation at one of their hotels, you can cancel it up to 5 to 6 days before your check-in day. So there's kind of no risk with booking your hotel early. Like, all you have to do is put down a one-night stay deposit to reserve that room, and you get that entire deposit back. They don't charge you any fees if you cancel. And 9 times out of 10, the rate that you first see, like the very first time you look up that hotel room for your specific dates, is going to be the cheapest. So as soon as you have an inkling of what dates you might be visiting, go ahead and book it, because you can always change it later.
The reason Anna said 9 times out of 10 is because there are some times that you can save money by using one little trick. So what we have done in the past is we'll book the hotel as early as possible, and then we'll just keep checking back on the rates. And every once in a while, you'll see that the rate drops leading up to your vacation. And all you've got to do is call and ask Universal to change it to that lower rate, and they'll rebook you. No problem. We've saved a ton of money this way. I think there was like a HHN trip one time where we had 6 or 7 nights booked at the Hard Rock for like $370 to $380 a night. We ended up getting the room for $265 a night leading up to the event. So it saved us like almost $1,000, and we didn't have to do any additional work other than jumping on the computer and being like, hey, that price is lower or higher. So a little bit of math.
Universal offers a number of discounts on their hotel rooms, like annual pass holder rates, Florida resident rates, and even military rates. If that's something that you qualify for, those can save you a ton of money. But something that everybody can do is hotel hopping. Now, this especially works if you're staying at one of the pricier hotels, like the Premier hotels. So what you do is on your travel date, so either the day you're traveling in or the day you're leaving, or both, if you're not going to use the benefits of that more expensive hotel that you're staying at, there's kind of no reason to stay there on that day. So for example, let's say you have like a 3-day trip booked, but the very first day you're flying in kind of late at night, you're not going to go to the parks, you're not going to use that express pass, and you're not going to get the benefits of a Premier hotel. There's no reason to stay there and pay for the Premier hotel that night if you're not going to take advantage of it. So you might as well stay at a cheaper hotel, and then you wake up in the morning and move to your Premier hotel, so you still get that express pass and all the nice benefits, but it can save you like $300 or $400 just for one night.
We're through hotels and we're through tickets, and now we're moving on to food, the last of the three things. And you may or may not have noticed throughout the entire video, we were eating during sections of it. We just never brought attention to it. And that's because we were running a little bit of an experiment to see how much a typical day cost here at Universal to eat. And for us today, it was roughly $100. Now, we did get a drink and we had some higher end stuff here and there, but generally when we give people an estimate, $50 a day per person for an adult is a good estimate. You can spend way more than that if you want to, but you can also spend less.
If you're wanting to stay closer to that like $50 per person per day or even under that, we do have a couple like secrets that we use all the time. The first one is to split meals, especially for lunch. Like, we're not big eaters early in the day. We like to have like a big dinner, but we don't eat much for breakfast or lunch. And so we love to split entrees. We did that today at the Today Cafe. We split something and it was plenty of food for the both of us. Another one is that you can actually bring your own food to the parks, whether that's like food you've made at home or like granola bars or stuff like that. So definitely pack some stuff with you. And if you're like flying down and don't feel like you can bring a bunch of stuff, you can also order groceries to your hotel room and then have things to bring into the park. And then the last one is kind of tricky. On some of the menus, they'll have the exact same item and they'll have it as a platter and as a combo. The only difference is that like the combos are gonna have like a dessert with them or like something extra with them, whereas the platter is gonna have like your entree and a side, which is plenty of food most of the time. And the platters are usually like $4 or $5 cheaper, so make sure you pay attention to that when you're ordering too.
After we spoke with our friends this morning and they told us that whole $4,800 thing, it really shocked us. That number was higher than I was expecting. So throughout the day, while we were recording this video, we were on our phones. We were trying to save them as much money as possible. And just in this little bit of time, we've been able to take their trip from over $4,800 to just under $3,800. So about $1,000 that we've saved them. And hopefully with a little bit of time and put in some more of the things that we talked about into practice, we can save them a little bit more.
And now for the big question, is Universal still affordable? Well, the answer to that is yes, but if you're asking if Universal is cheap to visit, that answer is no. However, we hope that some of these tips and tricks that we talked about in this video help you save money on your next trip to the parks. We also have all kinds of other videos where we talk about our best money-saving tips and tricks, and we even have an email list that you can sign up for to get our ultimate Universal vacation planning checklist. We hope you guys enjoyed this video today. If you want to check out some of those videos I was talking about, you can click this right up here, but we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!